Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for Caracom. The great and
Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, or any topical issue of the day, any subject matter trending, and you can introduce your own subject matter. We just babble until you call. We give your call priorities. We will stop in the middle of a sentence and take your call. The number to call is 442-0175. And we're on Facebook and other radio stations in Grenada. What is trending? John Galt called me early this morning. He told me to speak about Pierre Larceny. He said this is Lenten season, and he really don't want to sin his soul. It seems as though those individuals involved in this science is seriously affecting the economic status of John Galt. What do you see about Pierre Larceny? I remember Tilaita go in jail for stealing blogger. They give her 3 months. We had a magistrate called Dias. Dias give her 3 months in jail. That was Pierre Larceny. Because Pierre Larceny is associated with stealing from the land, particularly in the Caribbean region. That is a problem all over the world. But particularly in the Caribbean region, it's a problem. And the farmers complain it has serious economic significance to them. So the farmers want it dealt with. Well, Dias sent Tilaita in jail for 3 months. He never took into consideration that she had a 2-week-old child. So he sent her in jail. And if you remember Addington Wood, that was Tilaita man. He went in jail for stealing dry wood. And when he come out in prison, he jumped the boat and go in Trinidad. During that period of time, a lot of young men that went to prison, when they reached back, they took the boat. The next opportunity they got, they took the boat and went to Trinidad. The shame at that time in the community was devastating. But Tilaita was left with the children. She had nowhere to go. So 1 year later, she ended up back in front of Dias. After 3 months in prison, the child ended up with marasmus. You know? But the reality is that Pierre Larceny affect the farmers. And farmers have been shouting for stiffer penalties. Farmers have been shouting for steeper penalties. They want people go in jail to rot. One fella tell me he could solve all the problem with pretty last name. He say he have the solution. He says about 200 people in Grenada that terrorizing the farmer. So he putting all of them in jail. I said, well, how you could jail people? He said he just rounding them up, just as Maurice Bishop did to the Rastas. And he leaving them in Hopeville permanently. See that you can't take this decision? But when farmers are affected, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, I love the cricket coming up Thursday. I want to thank the government for the vision in building the cricket stadium. You know, we still see like in our living room and watch cricket in other countries. Well, as a Green, I could say I'm proud that we got cricket right in our own backyard. Right? We could leave our home, take a bus and go down and watch cricket. Right? Because see, when a government with vision, right, if people will prosper, but a government was in office without a vision, I don't want to speak doom, but the country can go forward. And because of the vision of the visionary leader, Dr. Keith Mitchell, we get the National Stadium and the Athletic Stadium. Right? So I want to say to the people who are going to carry on, Peter Martin, we are constantly watching cricket in other countries, but no. Yeah, look well now, we have this national cricket stadium where you can go and watch, sit down, enjoy cricket. Enjoy cricket because what we should see, right now, we're going to see live and direct, right in the National Cricket Stadium, which is a plus and a benefit for us. And that is development in sports, development in the young people, and bringing more money to the country. And in the country also marketing. Because also in life, you know, people here in our country, when the country there, but because of the history of what Greta gone through with Kirani James, and the positive history, we could be proud. You know, so I do believe when people used to have a Greta, only when the revolution took place, I heard what the revolution took place, they overthrew Gary, and what happened in 1983 with the collapse of the revolution. But now we have some positive history of the National Stadium, Kirani James, a lot of other young people in sports, usually making Grenada proud. So I call upon the Grenada people, go out and watch cricket. Everybody mightn't go, but who go out. Make sure you maintain the protocol because coming the 4th of next month, some of the restrictions will be lifted. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, that's important. You see, that's what makes the difference with leaders. You will always have the enemies of progress with you, the doubters, the negative, doomsday people in a community that cannot dream big. You see, they criticize everything. Paradise Bridge was built over 200 years ago, maybe about 210 years ago. When they built that bridge in a vehicle, yet that bridge have outlived a number of other bridges. When you building, you have to build for 50 or 100 years. When a young couple come together and decide to join in a relationship, they should plan for 100 years. Not 3 months, not 6 months. As soon as a little challenge step in, they break up because they only plan for 6 months. People go into church, and because the pastors are preoccupied, the pastors and men of the cloth are preoccupied with God coming. After a little while in the church, if fellas find God don't come in, they're behaving like when cattle break pole, you know. Because they never go there with a long-term plan. We have to prepare. We have to make preparation. So when government building a structure, the government have to think about the 50 or 100 years. And they have to think about long-term expansion. But the enemies of progress would not see that. And that is why visionary leaders in Grenada have had so much challenge. Look at the caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah. Could you tell me what's the meaning of New World Order? I don't really quite understand what's the meaning of the New World Order.
Okay. That's all you want to know?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Yes, this gentleman wants to know what is the meaning of the New World Order. Somebody may be able to pick up the telephone and give us a call and give us an explanation about the New World Order. Yes, my brothers and sisters. So, we always have to plan and plan big. Family members are not sitting down and plan. When we put up a house, we must put up the house in mind with a greater plan. So sometimes the first structure you put up is only part of the bottom floor. And later on you expand. So governments always have to think long term. And sometimes you have to ignore the doubters. Or you have to encourage them to let us discuss the issue. So the stadium in Grenada has been built. Now we need to make maximum use of it. And I think we are already reaping rewards from it. We have Kirani James, one of our Olympians. In the last Olympics, Grenada had 6 persons participating in the Olympics. Because the Ministry of Sports and our journalists ignore these things, this is why maybe we don't have the passion for sports as we should have. But we need to do better. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock in the evening, the police will be in the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville, holding discussion with farmers on pre-deal larceny. John God called me and tell me to speak about pre-deal larceny because he said he don't want to sin his soul during this Lenten time. It's a problem that affects everybody. And people are asking for stiffer penalties. Well, all the prisons in the Caribbean, every one of them are overpopulated. A significant number of our young boys are going in prison. Government has passed laws expanding or increasing the penalties for pre-deal larceny crime. Yet, people asking for more penalties. And I think perhaps when you go to the cinema, 4 o'clock tomorrow, and farmers should go. And journalists in this country, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. Pierre, good
Yes,
day.
my brother.
Yeah. I'm about Green, I get a bronze medal or whatever, but Trinidad sent 33 athletes and they don't get a medal, so that's it. But the previous last time I have about 3 weeks ago, I had some tiny. I think I cleaned it with less than 5 days. When I clean it, they flatten it. So sometimes you have to just do what you have to do. Because you don't work in land, you have to do it these days. You have to do land for like working for fitness. You just to keep fit. That's the only thing I see land. And yesterday I think you mentioned about Jesus raised people from the dead. Because I don't like what happened to fit, you know. But I raised from the dead. So they say you appoint unto man wants to die. Based on what the slave master book say. You appoint unto man wants to die. So these people are raised from the dead, they are alive still 2,000 years old? That question I want to ask to the because you say appoint unto man wants to dead. And they say Jesus raised people and dead, so I don't know if they mean 2,000 years old people living now. Because I say, one part they ask him what his sign of become. He said, this generation shall not pass. They shall see the Son of Man coming through the cloud. And 2,000 years now, the people living, that people are living still? Because he said, this generation shall not pass. That was based on what the scripture said, this generation shall not pass. They shall see the Son of Man coming to the cloud. So So he tell him during that time, that means during his time, during their time, he could come around there. And this thing I never occur. But see, because if that you find this thing in Jack and he been stuck and he truly could pick book, he will say that little child, people might say, man, one thing happening in the Bible, because donkey talking, a snake talk to a woman. I don't know woman for a snake. Before they see they running, a snake talking to a woman, they must stand there and listen to snake talk there. If that and them find that them in Batman book, you go say that man, that is just little child, but because it in the Bible, everything in the Bible is true. So I pray to take care and have a nice day.
Yes, my brother. Very interesting conversation. You see, religion is a question a lot of belief. Because Muhammad say that he get a vision from Angel Gabriel. The same Angel Gabriel that come and speak to Mary first and tell her, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Is the same Angel Gabriel that go and speak to Muhammad and start a whole religion. Because Islam came after Christianity. And Islam enslaved Africans before the white man. And they used to castrate the black man. Islamic religion, they castrate the black man. Maybe that is why we don't talk about it much. The white man used to put the black man on a farm so he could breed to multiply to make more. You see, man has always been making effort to dominate other race. Rome once conquered England for about 300 years. Rome had conquered England. You ever call on the line? Caller, welcome.
Good day, brother Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
And how are you?
Great, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to take you up on the subject of the New World Order there.
Yes, the gentleman asked about the New World Order. So if you could give us some a definition and advice, it will be great.
Yeah, well, we got to start with the present way the world is organized, which the United States more or less wants to control. And that is really referred to as democratic idealism. It's the way in which, I don't know if you read an article by the Chinese ambassador in Grenada now, in which he did a very good work on democracy. Now, originally, democracy was defined as government by the people, of the people, and for the people. The United States claims to be the harbinger of democracy. But as the Chinese ambassador pointed out, the American, I would say the American ideal of democracy is not the only model that really obtains. China, as he said, has its own model of democracy. Now, before the United States idealism, democratic idealism, there were other types of world orders. There was the Westphalian peace, which was established in the 17th century. Then there was also a time when the Chinese had a central imperialism kind of world order. And then there was a time when Islam more or less tried to take over the world and establish their world order. But I called particularly because I wanted to point out the role of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie in his mission to establish a new world order. I guess you're familiar with Bob Marley's tune there called War, in which His Imperial Majesty, Bob Marley quotes His Imperial Majesty saying that until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently abandoned and discredited, there will be war. Until the philosophy which, and it goes on and on. Now, one of the strongest proponents of a new world order was His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie. And the Rastafarian movement, as you should be aware, is predicated on the life and teachings of His Imperial Majesty. We got to agree that the present world order is not working. You have some countries that are extremely rich, and not because of their hard work, it's because they have exploited other countries. And so His Imperial Majesty insisted that we should bring about change. And he did a whole lot of work to bring about the establishment of the League of Nations. As a matter of fact, they wanted to keep out Ethiopia and other so-called black countries from the League of Nations. I wouldn't go into it in too much details and try to be long, but what we have to agree is that the world as it is today, as philosophers would say, is not the best of all possible worlds. And until we try to bring about change in which we'd have a more harmonious world, then what's happening in Ukraine should never surprise us. I'm a Rastafarian, and I wanted to call you some time ago to discuss the Rastafarian movement, because I heard you talking about the Rastas as not liking school and not liking education, and one of the biggest proponents of education was His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie. And anyone who would claim to really follow the teachings of His Imperial Majesty would have to embrace education. I used to be a teacher. My mother brought us up very poor, but what I realized, she knew she couldn't give us anything. But she took every opportunity to make sure that we went to school. I also heard you talking about the books written about the revolution in Grenada, and I wanted to take you up on that also, but I'd have to do that at another time. As a teacher, parents would come to me and say, but the boy doesn't like to read. All he's reading is comics. And I would say to the parents, let him read the comics. He would develop a love for reading that way. But just to close on the New World Order, I agree with His Imperial Majesty that the present world order does not represent the best of all possible worlds. And countries like the U.S. and all these other nuclear countries should try to have a better world. And if you can get the Grenada now, you can read the Chinese ambassador description of what other kinds of democracies might be. And I agree with His Imperial Majesty that we need to try to bring about a new model for the world in which human beings can really learn to love each other. As Imperial Majesty said, rather than having the rule of law, we probably could have the rule of international morality. He spoke about having world citizenship. So a Russian would not kill the Ukrainian because of some artificial boundary which is called your sovereignty and all these kind of nonsense. Just listen to Bob Marley's tune and you would get a gist of the kind of world order His Imperial Majesty would like to usher in. Thank you very much, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, thank you very much. And these are very rich topics for discussion. The Rastafarian movement in the Caribbean was seriously influenced by the teachings of Marcus Garvey, and quite a lot of the songs from Bob Marley and the quotations from Bob Marley was expressions and utterance from Marcus Garvey. But we really need to continue these discussions. As I say, we hardly could do justice to any topic, but we want to provoke discussions so that we have these discussions around. The number to call is 442-0175. And yes, the farmers who are struggling with predial larceny, you have an opportunity to go to the Look Cinema about 4 o'clock and express some of your views and opinions and what you would like to see done. You know, some people, we have a call on the line. Call a punch.
Good day, sir.
Yes, my brother. Go right ahead.
Yes, I quite agree with the gentleman who explained about the world order. But one must not be too long because people want to punch, as you said. Something I want to touch quickly. I heard the candidate for Carriacou, I like my politics, the candidate saying that this government have not done anything for health. I am saying this is totally untrue. I have seen some improvements in the health system in this country. We come a long, long way.
I was back in my home on Saturday. I saw a whole van load of nurses in the Ministry of Health Transport going house to house, taking pressure check, sugar check, vaccination. Who wants vaccine could get vaccine. Begging the people to taking a note of whoever they check, the contact numbers. The nurses going to homes. This is the first time I have seen it for a long time. I don't know how long it's going on. I don't know if you knew about it. But that I see that as improvement. So I am saying those who want to beat up on the health system, the government is trying very well and they come a very long way. I don't know if you agree with me. Thank you.
Yes, caller, definitely we have come an extremely long way where the health system is concerned. Not only in Grenada, St. Vincent, Dominica, St. Lucia, all these countries in the Caribbean have improved immensely where the health is. Somebody that say that we don't make any improvement is a young person that perhaps they don't understand the history, they don't know where we're from, or they're just politicking. We have come a long way. I don't think we send blood to Barbados anymore. We used to have to do that. And a number of operations, somebody that was affected with cancer would have had to go to Barbados for chemotherapy. Now we do that here. A number of surgeries had to go to Barbados. We have to remember that we have the developed countries and we have the third world. And Grenada is part of the third world. But in CARICOM, Grenada is considered as the lesser developed. Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and the other OECS countries. Take, for instance, CARICOM. It's important for us to know, and I think the Ministry of Health has not defended health. Government ministries normally don't defend the ministry. People attack, and after even the workers consume the attack, and they start to internally attack too. How many people in the hospital in CARICOM on a regular basis? How much people in the hospital in CARICOM on a regular basis? 5? 100? 50? Somebody call us and tell us. Somebody from CARICOM must know. What is the doctor to patients ratio in Grenada? How much doctors to the patient? Because that's how you check it. You check the amount of doctors, the amount of people, the ratio in Grenada. If you Google the World Health Organization, they're going to tell you Grenada is one of the leading countries in primary health in the Caribbean. What is the death rate in terms of infant mortality between 1 to 5? When I was growing up, it might have been 15, 20, 30% in some areas. In Grenada now, what is that? These are the things that are going to determine your health system. So individuals who are politicking, they make these outrageous statements because our journalists tend to sleep. Journalists and political activists don't ask them that. So if I had the opportunity to listen to him on my program, then I would have asked him a question. You see? Because individuals should not make these outrageous statements. And let me tell you what you do. You're causing to damage the confidence of the health system in the Caribbean. Well, if people are not confident in the health system, then they would not likely use it. And I'll make comparison with the United States of America. United States of America is one of the best countries for kidney and transplant in the world. United States, India, Egypt, Thailand, Spain. But United States will have the best health system in the world because of the accessibility. The accessibility. You know, you'll perhaps never go, even though Grenada doing kidney transplant, and I have the money to do kidney transplant, I will not go to Grenada. I'll go to a country that have experience. John Gall tell me he went to Jamaica and he was doing artificial insemination. And he spent 8 weeks in Jamaica inseminating about 50 cow a day. About 50 cow a day for 8 weeks. And when he come back in his country, after 5 years working, he did not inseminate 100 cow. So based upon economy of scale and based upon numbers, the amount of experience you could get from a big country, you can't get it here. And when our people get training in the medical field and government send them on postgraduate studies to further their education, most of them go to other countries. And people in Grenada hail that. They should be blacklisted. I consider them as pathogenic parasites. Because government train you. They educate you for about 7 years. You come back and work here for 3, 4, 5 years. And they send you on postgraduate studies. And then you are gulped up. You are gulped up by the United States, France, Germany, Frankfurt, and England, and other countries. Then how your countries is going to develop? Nigeria have about 40,000 doctors working in Europe. About 40,000 doctors working in Europe. And Nigerian had to go to the booth, the man paint up his face and he beating drum to tell them what happened to them. And people crying them down. Well, if the people you train, the people you invest in, they refuse to stay, how are you going to improve your system? Our health system have improved by leaps and bounds. The gentleman you are speaking about is making the same mistake that the NDC made before they got into power. They blast the health system mercilessly. And when they got into power, they had to change the Minister of Health because she was begging them, no, we have to do something. And she was making so much noise, they removed her as the Minister of Health. If we damage the confidence of the health system, when another party gets into power, they would not be able to fix it. They would not be able to fix it. In the process of tearing and seeing this country down, Caller Punch. Yes, Caller, welcome, Punch.
Yeah, how you doing, brother?
Great, man.
Well, yeah, good time I ain't touch base with you.
Well, and I miss you.
I agree with you. I agree with you all what you're saying there on the health system and so on. I want to give you a little joke in relation to the Pierre last meeting. A farmer one time told me that he have a piece of land in an area called Telescope in what a field down there. And he said that he couldn't get a blogger, you know. He said every time he go thing like they cutting his blogger and so on. The man told me that he went to the pharmacy and he bought what you call gum of aloe. And he painted the fingers. You understand? Now gum of aloe wouldn't kill you. He said that when he went to look for his blogger, he had his blogger there again. A little child meet him in the shop. And the little child tell him, Mr. Hoy, he call him by name, he say, you're a bad man. He said, what I do a bad? He say, you spoil mommy pot. You understand? The pot, the woman cooked the food and the pot bitter. She makes soup and the pot bitter. You understand? So he know exactly now who it is that takes his blogger. You understand? He say, he never miss a blogger again. Have a good day.
And that is what is dangerous when we're going to take the law in our own hands. Because he used something just to spoil the pot. But other people may use things to destroy the pot. That's what happened to Tilaita, you know. Tilaita go in jail for blogger. She take 3 months for blogger. She had a 2-week-old child. 2 weeks old child left with the 2 bigger ones. And they try with the child. And one day Eric Gary was passing. And he asked her, what you giving the child there? She said, hatata sa hatata. Now, Hudson would tell me it's Joshua. Gary says, Sheila George, she cannot give the child hot water. From now on, let her have milk. And Sheila George had to go and get milk for Tilaita. And that was a handout Gary gave her. She did not ask him. But he recognized that she was feeding the child with a substance that was not helpful to the child. The child had marasmus. And he gave her a handout. She needed it, but she didn't ask him. There are some people in Grenada who tearing down handout now. Remember, refugees, the people from Ukraine, a lot of them in other countries as refugees now, they would need handout from the international community. As we seek justice, we must have justice with compassion, not with vengeance, not with hate, and not vigilante justice. The police provides an opportunity for discussion now with farmers on the issue of predial larceny. Some people talk about record keeping, creating identity, so you put an identification mark on your animals, your sheep, proper lighting, and clearing the bush around your area. Some people say fence your place, put gates. Some people introducing alarm and warning system. They say greater communication among farmers and building partnership. But I want the police to look at the demographics. The demographics that involve in predial larceny. When you do the research, they don't speak about that. We have a call on the line? Caller, welcome. Punch.
Yeah, good afternoon, brother.
Yes,
Pierre.
my brother.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Pierre, predial larceny. I am convinced that we have to start with the vendors. One of the solutions must be that of the vendors. They are the people trafficking, that is knowingly buying stolen goods. The question I'm asking is, why it is not mandatory for vendors to give a receipt to everyone they purchase goods from to sell over to the public? Every vendor that sells edible stuff to the public must have a receipt book. They must have a duplicate receipt in the book of the goods that they buy, who they buy it from for selling over. I believe that, for example, the predial larceny folks, they can go to the market and they could randomly choose a vendor, and ask them, listen, well, this stuff you're selling for here, where did it come from? If it come from your garden, well, you have an explanation to do. And if not, you must state from who you buy it, because you must have a receipt stating who you buy this stuff from. I'm convinced we must start with the vendors. We have to make vendors afraid to buy stolen stuff or buy stuff that is underpriced. Thank you for the time.
Yes, my brother. I have to go and read the Chinese ambassador view on perception and democracy. I always say when monkey writes his story, monkey always right. Because democracy in China will be far different from democracy in the United States of America. When you stop a black man in America, he has his law and he's complaining, what you stopping me for? What you stopping me for? And he's accusing the police of racism. Because he said, you have to tell me what you stopped me for before you ask for my ID card. In a democratic country, how do we go to a vendor that have a license and right to sell and demanding where they get the fruits? We have to be very careful in trying to solve our problem. We don't create problems. We have to be careful. But maybe the farmer should go to the cinema 4 p.m. and discuss the issue with the police. I believe the police must look at the demographics. Who are the ones more likely to be involved in predator larceny. What is the educational background? 70% of our children that exit secondary school, not exit secondary school, that exit school cannot meet the minimum requirements. We have a group of people constantly complaining that government is giving handout to the people of the lower socio-economic strata. I always remember till I get milk from Uncle Gary. I asked her the other day about that child. She tell me she hear the child have a son and he's a doctor. But it's years she don't see him because he live in quite in town. So she don't expect him to come up in the country. But she tell me she hear he have a son and his son is a doctor. Until I still thanking Uncle Gary, true Sheila Judge, for the milk she get to give that child. We have to be careful as we seek justice. We're not going after vengeance. Remember, any country where 80% of the people are involved in agriculture are poor countries. Let me put it that way. All countries in the world where 80% of the people are directly or indirectly involved in agriculture are poor countries. So if 80% of Grenadians are involved in agriculture, sometimes it's extremely difficult to draw a line of demarcation between the farmer, the thief, the farmer children. What is the situation with drug addicts? Remember in yesteryear, people used to thief nutmeg and cocoa. Well, people are bothering to thief cocoa now. Even the farmers are them struggling with cocoa. Even thief don't bother with that. Long ago, they used to make coffin, put coffin in the road when they thieving cocoa to make people afraid. But now, nobody bothering to thief cocoa. They thief in soursop. They thief in tanya. They thief in other vegetables and ground provision. And we have to deal with that issue. And there are a number of ways we could deal with it without becoming too emotional and without losing our sense of reason. We are constantly asking for stiffer and stiffer penalties. All the prisons in the Caribbean are overpopulated. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, my brother.
you send me back to my good old school days, eh?
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, I really take with that one. With T-Lighter. Well, T-Lighter had to go in town if she want to see the child. Because St. George's is too far
Yeah,
for
little
the
far.
doctor to come in Parklet.
In all, not practice, Kumandi. In all fairness, St. George is kind of fine, you know. So it's difficult. But she say
The people are living in St. George, they tell you living too far.
yeah, well, sometimes it's far in truth. I mean, even Andrew does say how fast St. George is
Yeah.
to come.
I know of a gentleman that stole a bunch of blogger on the estate in Douglaston. The overseer saw the blogger in the kitchen. No, the overseer saw the blogger, where the blogger missing. He say, you see, partner, you don't see where they take out blogger. He say, oh God, overseer, they right by the yard here, he go to kill that person. You know, a few days afterwards, they found the blogger in his kitchen. I wonder if he would have like agreed for them to kill him.
That is not the same thing the angel tell David. When the angel questioning David, David says to kill the man, and he said, use me.
In any case, the matter with the Fredia Lassini team and the police, I think it's a good step in the right direction. But my problem is that these things on them, they don't normally come with enough teeth to bite. The laws are made, the laws are there, but something in the functioning of those things cause them to go to sleep. According to who you are, you could get jail. According to who you are, the case will take 25 years. According to who you are, you don't hear nothing about it again. And according to who you are, you'll never get arrested.
But that might be the exception rather than the rule.
No, it happens. And again, they're supposed to have a law in the Pridalasini that you get compensation. The farmer is being compensated for these stolen articles or whatnot. And whatever subs that comes out from it should be paid back to the farmer. But the people that thief ain't paying no sub. They prefer to make the jail so the farmer won't get compensation. And a lot of time, the farmer know who thieving him, you know, because the farmer is a thief for himself. A lot of time. But I really wish that we could see something come out of this new pre-Alasini refunctioning, because it's definitely needed. And not much farmers thieving, you know. And not much people are thieving, you know. It's a handful of people. But you can't hold them, and when you hold them, the penalty is very, very small.
But a man want to take them and put them in Hopeville?
No, that's
you can't do that.
And then even though some people send them and work your land, but if you have to send them and work your land, then you have to have a lot of people to watch them. Because by the time they knock up, what happened?
And you must give them food?
Yeah. What happened?
And they might thief you and go to you?
Exactly. Right. And not only that, they might fight with the owners too.
Right.
So it's not an easy situation, but it's extra needed. It's extra needed.
Okay, thank you.
But I hope that it comes with teeth, so that it's not a matter of just a bureaucracy. You go through a system and nothing comes out of it. Somewhere along the line, people stay too long without the police being able to apprehend them. And when they are apprehended, they go on bail for a long time. And when they go on bail, they go in jail for a little time, and nothing happens.
All right, thank you, caller.
Good.
Yeah. So definitely what farmers need is to go to the session. Make your contribution. On target, always encourage dialogue. And don't expect things to happen overnight. It may take years to have a serious reduction in the amount of people involved in pre-larceny. I say 5-10 years if you implement a comprehensive program where the farmers are prepared to participate and comply, then we could have a serious drop in the incidence of pre-larceny. Caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, when you have Kevin Andrews saying nothing done in health, remember in 2008, the healthcare was a standstill, where you have the new wing that was in construction at the General Hospital. They used to pass up there, and when people used to laugh at it. You have again the polyclinic in Guav. The Minister of Health at the time say funds was located, but because they have some problem with Mr. Church, they punish the people of St. John for getting that polyclinic hospital. And the income and NMP, they finish constructing that. The new wing in General Hospital, that's complete. You have the primary health care. Again, all that is development. But when I hear they talk about nothing done, I believe they were speaking about 2008 to 2013. I even say nothing done. Wherever you all stop the new wing that we're going to up at the hospital, the polyclinic hospital in St. John, that you all stop. I could say healthcare was at a standstill, but income and NNP, they finished that. And today there's a lot of things done. I don't want to mention from 2008 to 2000 up to now. I don't talk about before. So you could see there's a lot of development and improvement in healthcare.
Okay. Yes, we just want to read this Facebook posting. And somebody from Carriacou. The person who said that the health service in Carriacou is not developing is not true. We have 4 doctors plus. I live all my life in Carriacou and was only one doctor that was appointed to service everyone. It is this NNP government that sees fit to give us more than one doctor. One based in the hospital for emergency and the other for health centers. So this individual who just come is my grandchild's age, never worked and contributed to NIS, want to spread lies to get political mileage. We kayaks know better. Joke they making. No, there are some issues, particularly the health system, it is not necessary to attack it unjustifiably, particularly in this period of time. Because one of the challenges we have with the health system is confidence in it. If you have confidence in something, you're more likely to obey the doctor. You remember during Zika, the Ministry of Health said to control the breeding sites of mosquito. They had the people from Vector Control spraying. The people from Ticolo say it's papayi leaf that curing Zika. They drink out all the papayi leaf in Ticolo. They ain't bother with mosquito. Everybody have mosquito breeding in the vase, in the dog container, in old tires around the house. They buying one amount of mosquito coil and insecticide. And they drinking papayi leaf. And they're not obeying the Ministry of Health. And they had no confidence in what the doctors are saying. So when we damage or we tear and say the health system unjustifiably, it has its rippling effect in the society. That is why, even at this stage, about 30% of the people that takes vaccine. People are bringing their children for vaccination, but they themselves are not going it. Young people are prepared to let their older parents die rather than give them the best option to take, and that is vaccination. Preachers and men of the cloth, trade union leaders, political individuals, they went and take vaccine to protect themselves because they believe that is the best option. But they're not going to encourage the people who they influence to take vaccine because they want to run down the health system. That makes no sense. Caller, punch.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my darling.
Today is World Oral Health Day, and the theme is Be Proud of Your Mouth. Let us, as adults and children, remember that there are free healthcare system in some of the medical centers where we can go and extract. Don't wait until everything is bad and in pain and we have gone balls to go, and then the doctors can't help us. Another thing is that I've heard of flea infestation in one of the schools in Florida government, and the school had to be closed as a result. Let us as animal lovers know that it's okay to bathe our dog, to shampoo and to take care of these things so that it don't affect, the neighborhoods and people around. Everybody wants to have a dog, but they want to let it go so it can pass feces in your yard, and look what it is he's causing, because you saw a woman and then you were talking about having to bring her child at the hospital because he was severely affected. Have a good evening, and everyone take care of each other.
Yes, thank you, caller. And I hope that when Ticolo people hear about World Oral Health Day, they go pray the dentist they have come back and talk to the children in the school. It's one dentist there, but she ain't coming back in Ticolo. Yes, caller. Welcome. Punch. Yes, caller. Yeah, well, we lost that caller. So it's important, particularly men. If the men lead, the women going to follow. If the men lead, the women going to follow. They have a thing, they do a research. I ain't telling you which country they do the research in. They want to know, they ask some women, what you will like to know about your men. The majority of them say they would like their men to be more clean. They say the men not going to doctor, they're not going to dentist, and they don't care. You say they're drinking rum, they're smoking cigarette, they're afraid toothbrush. So, it's not me that say, it's research. Remember, sometimes who pay for the research determine the result. But that is what they say about men. So you could discuss the issue and see if there is any truth in it. A woman says she's trying to get her man to brush his teeth. She don't know how to do it because he's so aggressive. I say, well, buy Listerine and bring home. Buy 2 toothbrushes and give him. And bring it home. Don't give him. Bring it near you. And make sure he see when you're doing yours. Because she had to handle him with care. They say the men are not taking care of themselves. They're not going to doctor. And then you hear, brap, a man dead. They say, well, what killed this man? Fella say, heart attack. Brap, a man dead. They say, what killed this man? They say, that one might be blue pills. Brap, a man dead. They say, what killed him? They say, well, that one is high blood pressure. They say, well, how did man have high blood pressure? They say, well, he used to drink Mountain Dew. They say that's good to keep down pressure. Bus drivers are not known to be drinking much water. You notice they don't drink much beer because they want to control their urine. So they don't want to pee regular. And these also have occupational health issues. So preventative health, we could cost the health system. We want to eat macaroni and rice and kill us, we don't want yam pie. Well, even if we want yam pie, it's not easy to get. Natural food, munga, drink water, exercise. This massive mass that people accumulating because of the dietary habit need to change. And some people say they love their children, you know. I don't know how they could love their children. I hope the pastors have to explain what is love. The amount of snacks I see people giving little children. Salt and pepper and sugar. These children will never want to eat tomatoes and carrot and kalaloo and munga and shukako. What they want is sweet and salt and pepper. We have to change. And then we're causing the health system. And the doctors are joking, you know. Whap! They cut out your foot. You see fellas go, whap! They cut out your foot. They say the man have sugar. They tell the nurse tell the man, your sugar high. The man says a little sugar. A little sugar. And he not going to doctor. Pants foot. You have a big ulcer. Long ago we say sore. You don't cure, you know. Every time they ask him, he say he looking good. Whap! They cut out the foot. We have the last caller and caller end the program pass. Yes, caller? We lost him? Caller, you there? Oh, he's someone here, you're not hearing us. Okay, we're sorry. So you have to catch us tomorrow between 12 and 1. We're very happy to have you. We love our callers. We want you to call. On target, provoke discussion. We believe we could change things in this country. Sometimes you have to pull your family together and discuss the issue. Sometimes we have to change things. You're surprised to know your children are very knowledgeable on the internet and the cell phone. And your cell phone is a library. You know, don't bother with all this nice about public library. Your cell phone is a library. Use them. And thank you very much. Back with you tomorrow between 12 and 1. Thank you.
Homage to those gone before. Holding one Caribbean, raise your voices high, sing of your courage.